In response to my daughter's graduation video, I received quite a few messages on Facebook. So I'm going to go through them here with you. So I've written them down because I'm using my phone to record, so I can't go on and read them out. Do your lesson plan. We've been doing child-led learning and core things such as math, English and science. It's working for us, but I sometimes wonder if I should have a more specific plan. And now there are other questions in between that, but I'm going to tie two together. So this is actually question 4 now. How do you find out what is suitable for their age? My child has a firm understanding of subject topics. I've just found out they don't teach in schools until secondary school, but I don't push him to learn above his age. It's topics he naturally enjoys, such as chemistry, space, physics. And I'm the type of parent to answer any question he has that I know. And if I don't know the answer, well, we will research it together. For reference, this person's child is 7. So in my opinion, it sounds like you're doing everything right. There's no ahead or behind in home education. So what children are learning in schools and at what age is no relevance to home education at all, because we go at the child's pace. We work towards their age, aptitude and ability, as the law states. So the age that they learn things in school isn't really relevant to home education. All I can say is to continue following his interest and delivering and facilitating his education in line with his learning style and preferences, how he learns best. I'm just going to have to let the dogs out. Now, I do facilitate core subject learning. However, I don't have a strict schedule or lesson plan that I adhere to. I have a generalised outlook at the beginning of the year, so certain topics that I think they'll find interesting that year, whether that be history-based, art-based, geography-based, math, English, so on. I have a generalised idea in mind, but it's not a strict rota or plan that I will adhere to. It's very in the moment and with the flow. In the UK, we don't have any requirements to follow the curriculum. Some home educators do, some don't. And there's so many different educational philosophies out there. So personally, I'm quite eclectic. I've taken bits from different philosophies that appeal to me and appeal to my children more so, that tied in with their learning styles and their learning preferences and how they learn best. So I incorporated those bits to make their own individual bespoke plan. So I have 4 children. They were all home educated for various lengths of time, for various situations and reasons too. Not all were home educated for the same reason as the other. And therefore, with them being so different to each other, because we're all different, we're all individual, with them being so different to each other, their education looked very different too. They had different interests, different passions, so that's where we went. I followed their passions and I followed their interests to deliver a bespoke education for each child. And also in respect to that, they have different maturity levels too. So certain topics would be introduced at different times for each of them, depending on their abilities, depending on their maturity, depending on where they are, their aptitude, their skills, their abilities. All that would influence how I delivered or facilitated their education for that year. And in that moment, really, my eldest daughter, I focused a lot on health and wellness because that was where her interest lay. Lots of first aid courses, lots of opportunities to put that first aid into practice as well. With my second eldest child, he was very hands-on, he was a kinesthetic learner really, a hands-on physical learner. Doing is learning for him. So I made sure he had lots of opportunities for moments like that. He joined Young Farmers because he's very into farming equipment, agriculture at the time, because, you know, who doesn't want to drive tractors? I helped create a very personal and bespoke journey for each of them. At the minute, I'm purely home educating the youngest 2, my 12-year-old and my 6-year-old. So they're not really at the stages where they know what they want to do. Anthony's very into electronics and has a keen interest in electricity at the minute and going down the route of training to be an electrician. That's where his current interest is looking like it's heading. I mean, it could change. He's only 12. But for now, we're doing lots of circuit boarding, looking into the history of electricity, looking into the science behind it. And we're just going with the flow there, really, just encouraging and embracing that passion, just in case it is something that he wants to go into at a later point in life. Nimue is very crafty, very physical again, loves to get her hands dirty, loves to be involved. Anything performance based, anything arty, she is there, she is loving it. So for now, due to her age, we're following all her passions. She's doing ice skating, she's doing swimming lessons, she does dance classes and cheerleading, goes to scouting. And as she gets older, her interest will become more fine line, shall we say. She'll have more of an idea of what her true passions are. And again, I will follow her lead in that. So although I do have a somewhat structured approach now and again, I'm still very child-led, and it's still very focused around them and their learning preferences and styles.